Hello, what's up, everybody? Nobody's at this time, but hopefully somebody will jump on. If not, oh well, my message will still get out to a few of you. So it's been a minute since I've been on, but been dealing with some mental issues and some health issues here lately. So I got some injections in my back done last week that didn't go very well for the first day and a half. So it was kind of a bitch, but anyway, I'm alive and well. I'm sure this chat will end up going nowhere where I thought it would, or this video will probably not be what I wanted to be about. But the mission here on Get to Know, it's to change the way that the laws are when it comes to sexual abuse towards children and the parasites that commit these crimes on how their cases are handled and how they're sentenced and getting that changed. That's the main focus here. We're also about support for one another. Um, I'm working on getting a new webcam, so the broadcasts will be a little bit better quality than they are now. Um, but we're here for support. Um, Eventually, I'll get StringYard up, and we'll have special guests come up and talk and tell their story about the abuse they went through, or not necessarily just the abuse they went through, but the things that they have struggled with in their lives from the time the abuse stopped or whatever until just where their sexual abuse led them in life. A lot of us that are survivors of sexual abuse as children turn to drugs, turn to alcohol, uh, suicide. um, I know for me, I attempted suicide for the first time when I was 9. So that was one of the struggles I dealt with after that was during the abuse, when the abuse was still happening. But this one's about, if anybody knows anything about this channel, I don't refer to them as people. Um, I refer to these parasites as parasites. So when I say parasite, I mean pedophiles. So pedos equals parasite. So, but I'm not sure if people honestly know how many people that they interact with every single day of their life are actually pedophiles, parasites. I don't think people really honestly know how bad it has gone in our country and, of course, around the world. Um, it's definitely by no means slowed down at all. And I think the biggest problem facing us today is the fact that the ones that are committing these crimes, they're they're people you trust, people you're taught growing up as a kid to go to if you have problems, and if people you were taught to trust and go to when you have trouble. So most of these people that are committing these crimes are unfortunately cops, detectives, judges, prosecuting attorneys, doctors. Like, your bishop, your scoutmaster, your teachers. I mean, your brother, your sister. Um, yes, because a parasite comes in both male and female versions. They do exist. Um, but the biggest thing I feel like is a problem is the ones that are sitting in the Senate and in the Congress and these lawmakers that are making the laws and the penalties that govern over these laws when violated and broken. Um, they have got to be parasites as well in one way or another, whether they're physically messing with a child or they're downloading images off the internet or whatever have you. Um, huh? They're supporting it in some way. Yeah, they're supporting it in one way or another, and if that's the case, then if you're going to be in the position to make penalties for these crimes that you yourself are participating in committing, you're not going to make the penalties that bad. You're going to make it so you get a slap on the hand because there's a good chance you're going to get caught eventually. Well, I got to take that back. There's not even a good chance that you're going to get caught. So, I mean, there's for every one, this is just my opinion. I believe that for like every one person that actually gets arrested for sexual abuse, for being a parasite, um, there's another 15 of them that don't ever get arrested or abuse. I mean, as I'm sitting here talking to you guys in this video, in this live stream, someone's being sexually abused right now. There goes another one. I mean, I remember back in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, it was like one out of every 10 boys were being sexually abused, and one in like every 3 or 4 girls were being sexually abused out of 10. So all I know is it's way worse than that. I was having a conversation with um, a friend of ours and her daughter and my daughter and my wife and I, and I'm upfront about my sexual abuse to people. Like, it is what it is. It makes me stronger. It helps me deal with it and whatever. So we were talking about it because I was telling her about my channel here, and out of the 5 of us that was in this conversation, there were 4 of us that had been previously abused sexually as a child, and there was only one of us that wasn't, and that was my daughter. So the numbers are way higher than they used to be. It's not. It doesn't show any signs of slowing down because we don't give them a reason to want to slow down. You read about it in the newspaper, you hear about it on the news, you see it here, you hear about it here on YouTube, how pedophiles are getting these ridiculously light sentences, and they should be going away for the rest of their life, if not to the death chamber. And that's my honest opinion. The only good pedophile is a dead pedophile. That's honestly how I feel about that. Um, I don't care what anybody says or how they feel about that, but that's my opinion. Um, I'm sure there's going to be some people that don't share that same opinion as me, and that's okay. That's why we're all different. That's why we're all our own individual people. So, hey, don't kick me in my balls for my opinion, and I won't kick you in your balls for your opinion. You know what I mean? So, um, this channel is focused. I know I haven't been on here that often, but I got some issues I'm working through, health wise and mentally wise. So, but they're going. Um, so I'll be doing more. Um, I was just gonna do this. Let's see how easily it is to find a case for somebody being arrested just in the last 24 hours um, on Google, and I'll voice search it. We'll see what it pops up here. Hey Google, hey Google, look up most recent case for November 7th, 2022 for pedophilia being arrested or in court. That was a long one.
These are the top results.
Okay, this is one that just caught my eye. Uh, let's do this. How about this one? Child sexual abuse. Guidelines on prosecuting cases of child sexual abuse. Let's see where this goes. How about that? This could be interesting. This could be interesting. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my blood pressure down because the doctor is not real happy with my blood pressure because it's always high as hell. So I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to watch the GD word real good too. Not just on YouTube, but in my own personal life. Man, I wish one of these sites that had all these cookies would actually give me some damn cookies sometime. Like, what is it? It's like faulty advertisement. Child sexual abuse. Guidelines on prosecuting child cases of child sexual abuse. Issued 17th of October 2013 and revised 26th July 2017 in relation to Section 15A of the Sexual Offenders Act 2003. Further updated 22nd of November 2018 to remove references to merits merit merit-based approach. Reviewed and updated the 16th of June 2020. Early consultation between the police and CPS, how cases will be managed within the CPS, supporting victims and witnesses before the court case, independent sexual violence advisors, attending court, keeping victims and witnesses informed. Let's see. Here, my dumbass thought I was sitting there reading the actual article. These guidelines are designed to set out the approach that prosecutors should take when dealing with child sexual abuse cases. The guidelines are intended to be inclusive and should be applied to cases where a sexual offense has been committed against a child or young person unless there are good reasons why not in a particular case, and these reasons are noted clearly by the prosecutor. The guidelines also include cases of adult survivors of sexual abuse in childhood. The guidelines should be read in conjunction with other relevant guidance. These include the CPS Rape and Sexual Offense (RASO) legal guidance, which sets out the approach to be taken in cases involving allegations of rape and sexual assault, and the Safeguarding Children as Victims and Witness legal guidance. A particular reference, chapter 7. Let's see what chapter 7. Let's see what chapter 7 of the RASO legal guidance says. Sorry. Sexual. When choosing which offenses to charge, prosecutors should choose the most appropriate offense to fit the circumstances of the case, taking account of the court's sentencing powers. Courts on the indictment Counts on the indictment must reflect the seriousness and extent of the offending supported supported by the evidence, give the court adequate powers to sentence and impose appropriate post conviction orders, and enable the case to be presented in a clear and simple way. Offenses against children under 13, where age can be proved, should be charged under Section 5 through 8, where the circumstances fall within those sections. For example, Section 5, rape of a child under 13, should be preferred rather than Section 1 rape, so that the charge reflects that the offense offense was committed against the child and can I see your glasses? Here, let's see. This will work a little bit better. Should be preferred rather than Section 1 rape, so that the charge reflects that the offense was committed against the child, and consideration by the jury of the issue of consequence is not required. Where there is absence of consent and an absence of reasonable belief in consent, it may be appropriate to charge a non consensual offense contrary to sections 1 through 4. Let's just do this. This sounds like a whole bunch of difficult, ridiculous bullshit, legitimately. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it doesn't have to be that hard. If it can be proved that a child was sexually abused by this person, I don't see why they even need to go to court. I really don't. So, like, the penalties need to be changed so severe that it will force people to quit sexually abusing children. Like, that's just how I feel about it. So let's see if I can get off topic again. Okay. Hey Google. Hey Google. Find me most recent sexual abuse cases in court for 2022.
Here are some results from a search.
Oh, I didn't know Kevin Spacey won his legal civil lawsuit. That's bullshit.
That's crazy. Seriously, it's crazy anymore.
And there's good old Harvey fucking Weinstein. The biggest parasites of them all. Hey, did you guys know that that what's his name? What's the other dude's name? The one that died in prison? Oh, he said he killed himself, but he probably wasn't killed. He probably didn't kill himself. He had the island.
Oh, Epstein?
Yes. You guys know Epstein's Island, of course. Did you know that his address for his island, like his personal like house on his island, you know what his address was? Do you know what the address for SpongeBob SquarePants is? SpongeBob SquarePants' address is 123 Bikini Bottom Lane, and Jeffrey Epstein's address on his island was 123 Bikini Bottom Lane. How crazy is that shit?
Probably created SpongeBob and character.
Like, how many, anyway.
I'm gonna call Patrick SquarePants for money. Whatever star.
Here's one. Let's read into this case real quick. New York Post. This is the New York Post. In August 6th, 2022, no justice. No justice. Thousands of NYC child sex abuse cases stalled in court. Retired Catholic school teacher, well, there you go. Tom Venetine is one of 5,370 cases filed in the 5 boroughs under the 2019 Child Victims Act. Child sex abuse victims say the wheels of justice have ground to a near halt in New York City, where 5,000 lawsuits brought under the state law meant to give them justice have languished for years. I feel I'm being abused all over again, said Thomas. Whatever his last name is. Sorry, I'm not going to slaughter it again. Said Thomas, who's 69, who sued under the Child Victims Act nearly 3 years ago. Thomas was 14 when he was assaulted approximately 25 times in a 6-month period by Reverend Herbert D. Argino at St. Teresa of the Infant Jesus Christ in the Bronx, according to court papers. The Reverend died in 1996. He is one of 5,370 cases filed in the 5 boroughs under the 2019 legislation, which opened a 2-year window for victims to bring decades-old abuse claims to court. The window was extended a year because of the pandemic. But 3 years on, the cases, some of which even each involved dozens of victims, have barely moved through the legal system. See, this is just another example of how hard and ridiculous they make it to legally do something against sexual abuse against children. It's something that's got to change, you guys. We got to stick. We got to stand together now, because before we know it, every single child, every single person that walks these streets in America will be a victim of sexual abuse before we know it. It's just a matter of time. It's only getting worse as time goes on, and the people that are in positions of power to. Sorry, my nose is itching real bad. Someone's talking shit. Rap, knock it off. I lost my train of thought again. Anyway, hope y'all voted today. Really, I do. I hope y'all voted today, because we got to make a change before shit gets way beyond repair. Okay, that's what I was talking about. I got it now. My wife's sitting over here laughing at me, but whatever. Nope, I lost it. I'm gonna go. I think tonight. I think it is time for bed. Anyway, thank you all who didn't show up to the live today. Appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Just remember, one child is one child too many. That's what it was. Before we know it, every single person that you know will be a victim of sexual abuse at some point in time in their life, and it is not okay. We gotta make a push to get it to stop. And I know it'll never fully come to a stop, but we can make it come to a grinding halt, to a real slow pace. You know what I mean? Make it to where instead of 1 in every 10, or make it 1 in every 1,000. That would be 1 in every 1,000 children. That would be a good trade-off, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to see it 0 out of 1,000, but I don't believe it'll ever get that way. But if we keep going the way we are, and the way we allow things to keep going, and just because it's not personally happening to you right now in your life, it's happening to somebody. And if you don't want to see it changed, then you're probably a parasite, or you support it. So fuck you. Have a good night. This is Get to Know. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do or don't. It's all good. I'm not going anywhere. So later. One child is one too many.